Hey guys, good evening everyone. Hope everyone's had an awesome, awesome long weekend. We've got the Novak dog here. This is Moe. This is the Novak pet.
My
And
name's my name is Mark Novak.
I'll tell you
I'm
what, if you want to come back as anything, you want to come back as Moe. That's for sure. That's for sure. Hope everyone's
Hey
had a
guys.
great long weekend. Um,
Yeah.
I must say, feeling a little bit disorientated actually between the long weekend. It's Monday. It's daylight savings. It's we've been all over the place, haven't
It's
we?
nuts.
Yeah, it's
It's
nice though. It's
nuts.
nice to change things up a little bit.
Tonight's topic's a big one, guys, because
Yeah.
everyone seems to be talking about everyone's been bottled up, everyone's been at home, cooped up,
Yes.
haven't done many holidays,
Yeah.
don't know about Queensland, don't know about New Zealand, and there's been so much uncertainty. But the one thing that we're seeing a lot as real estate agents is Airbnb.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm calling it pop-up tourism. Which is a really interesting term, right? Because if you have a property, it potentially is a hotel, a resort. Wouldn't you say, Mark?
And it's free. So if you're doing your home as a facility, resort, whatever, for people to come and stay, you probably
Yeah,
you probably laugh about it thinking your home is someone's holiday.
yeah,
But the reality is that people now are saying, okay, I'm going to rent my place out for whatever I'm going to get.
yes,
And with that same amount of money, I'm going to go and rent something else. And
yeah,
it's
that's
almost a
right.
cost neutral exercise. So
That's
people
right.
that are Airbnb out their place for a holiday, Airbnb taking their kids for 2 weeks north,
Yeah,
it's an incredible time where it's people can take almost a free holiday.
yeah. So I'll tell you how this sort of all came about. I went in to do an inspection on a property, on a house on the Northern Beaches. And there was some short-term tenants staying in there, so short-term that they'd in fact just had the property for the long weekend. And I got into a conversation with these guests, with these tenants, and I said to them, "So where are you guys from?" And they said, "Oh, we're from the west." And I said, "The west where?" And they said, "Oh, from the western suburbs." And I said, "You're holidaying here on the northern beaches." And it was quite, and I won't say exactly where the suburb is because I'm selling the property at the moment, but it was quite an obscure suburb that you generally wouldn't suspect would be a holiday destination.
Well, certainly when you're from I think when you're from the beaches, you almost become very familiar, maybe a bit of a snob about when we think beach and we're northern beaches, we think Manly Beach as a holiday beach.
Right?
But these
Yeah.
guys, it doesn't even if they're within 20 minutes drive to the beach, they still regard that as a beach holiday.
Which you're not really anywhere on the northern beaches, you know. So you can hop
Yeah,
in your car and you can pretty much be at an array of beaches within minutes if you're driving and
yeah.
certainly if you're walking as well. But, this is a really interesting topic because all of a sudden everyone's properties are becoming short-term holiday rentals. Now, let's just be really clear, guys. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden if you've got an apartment that you can go and holiday let that apartment. We're well aware that there are strata
Yeah,
bylaws around this kind of stuff.
yeah.
So just be careful there with that one.
Houses, no problems.
Houses, no problems at all. Yeah, no problems at all.
Units, check with your strata before you do this.
Yeah, some stratas are okay with it and some aren't. So certainly do that before before you go popping your property on Airbnb. But here's the other thing is that you don't actually have to put it onto Airbnb either.
Don't have to do that either. And
Yeah.
not only that, but what's happening is the whole function of a holiday is getting away from work. Is you're together with the ones that you love,
Yes.
and you're getting provided an experience.
Yeah.
So that experience, people are now finding within New South Wales, they're now finding under their noses, whereas traditionally they'd go into a travel agent, they'd start flicking through some books, and they go, I want to go there, I want to go there. But the main function of a holiday is just to get everyone together and
change of environment.
Change of environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing was with this particular family that is renting this house in the Northern Beaches that are from the western suburbs, he was saying, well, I'm not really on a holiday. The family is, the kids are on school holidays. I'm working, and so work doesn't really care where I'm working from. So whether he's working from his property in the western suburbs or he's working from this beautiful home that they've rented on the Northern Beaches, it doesn't matter because it's all being done remotely at the moment.
And you can do an extended one. So rather than taking a week away at the end of the year, you may take 2.
Yeah.
Or you may take 4.
Yes.
If you're going to be doing a little bit of work there, you're not paying for airfares. So that's straight away 5,000 or 10,000. You're up, not paying airfares. But also you may go, heck, you know what? My employer's okay with it. I'm just going to take a month or even a month and a half. And if you've Airbnb'd out your property, it's still a cost-neutral exercise.
Oh, 100%,
You know what I mean?
100%. But Mark, you were telling a story before to some friends of ours saying that you had a client that jumped in the car and they were heading toward the Mooney Bridge.
Yeah.
And it was just bumper to bumper with traffic, and they turned around and came back again.
No.
So,
Traffic on the weekend was nuts for holidaymakers.
Yeah, and look, I can't see that that's going to be changing in the near future.
Yeah.
Because people are traveling, all of a sudden, if you know someone that's gone away for the school holidays to Byron Bay, you're like, wow, you got into Byron Bay. That's incredible. Where did you stay? And these prices have gone through the roof. You may as well be traveling to Aspen, right? But these, which makes a lot of these suburban properties a lot more appealing. The fact that you can jump in your car from Parramatta and you can be in an area like DY or Curl or Freshwater within 45 minutes, not have to heckle with traffic, have a great array of beaches, restaurants, transport, shopping, Woolworths, all these things right there at your disposal.
And then if you're from, say, North Curl or Narrabeen and you've rented your house out for 2, 4, 6 weeks.
Lucky you. You're getting good money.
Yeah, and you got the money in your pocket.
Yeah.
And then you may go, hey, I'm going to go north, I'm going to go south, I'm going to go inland, I'm going to go rural.
Yes.
You got your cash.
Yeah, that's right.
Holiday time off looking for an experience.
Yeah, so it's
really interesting.
It really is interesting. And again, I'm calling it pop-up tourism. Who knows if it's going to be here to stay, but it's certainly here right now where people are taking holidays in suburbs that are 20 minutes to 30 minutes away from where they're living. So they're packing up the car, they're driving over the Spit Bridge, and they're calling that a holiday. And, it's awesome. And these properties are getting a fortune for it.
It's huge. And guys, the time is now. So if you think you're going to do it in December when it's too late for this holiday, it's just not going to happen. So if you want to start thinking about getting us to do an Airbnb style at Novak arrangement for you, we can now. That allows you to get great tenants in place over that Christmas period and allows you to actually find something to rent that's available over that Christmas period. There's a window probably now of about 4 weeks to do this.
Yeah.
And then I think once you start getting into December, it's just too late.
And look, the thing is that, we do hear horror stories, much like people that self-manage their own rental properties long term. We do hear those horror stories about people that have done that. And, it's never turned out well, and it's ended up costing them a whole lot more money because they didn't know what the checklist was to put those tenants into a property. And then if something goes wrong, that's where it all turns pear-shaped. And it's the same thing with short-term holiday rental. It's one of those things that it might seem easy from the outside looking in, right? Where it's like, I'll just pack up a few boxes and make the house look like a resort and we'll just get someone in here. But the last thing you want is to have someone inside your property, inside your home that you can't trust. You don't know who that person is. So it is a good idea to pay management fees to an agent or to someone like Airbnb that could do the proper checks, right, on that. So that is absolutely
it can ruin your holiday.
critical.
I think if you're Airbnb out your place, it can ruin your holiday if you don't if it's not managed properly. So I think having it in the hands of a experienced agent who's dealing with keys, property repairs, all that sort of stuff, it's going to save
bonds. bonds. You know, look, this is the thing. Again, the last thing you want is someone coming into your home and they've had a massive party over New Year's Eve and they've turned the place upside down and they've broken something and you didn't collect a bond. So you can certainly still do that with a short-term holiday rental. Again, this is something that an agent is experienced with. So, you know, yes, there's a huge amount of money on the table. I mean, you know, depending on where your property is, you could be earning on a house anywhere between sort of $300 a night all the way up to thousands and thousands of dollars a night. We were actually looking ourselves for at the end of the year, and some of these properties were charging, you know, $2, $3, $4, $5,000 a night for these beautiful homes.
You know what a good idea also is? We'll talk about it today. You may even decide just to head into the CBD. I like sort of going against the grain, and at the moment the grain is everyone's sort of de-urbanizing out of the CBD. So I think if you did say you did do a rental property, you rented out your property in Narrabeen, Beach, Lagoon, wherever you are, it's not that crazy going into the CBD of Sydney and hiring a really cool apartment with views for less, because at the moment I don't think people are flocking to the city. So it may be a pretty cool holiday over that December. I reckon, you know how we've always lately when COVID really hit, it was all about support a local, support a local, support a local. Now, it probably sounds, I've got to be careful of my words, but I think supporting the CBD of Sydney is really, really important. And you may not regard that as local, but these guys are really struggling because office towers are not busy, particularly that December, January period. I think they're going to find it even a bit colder and harder for business because they found it already hard now. You may decide to go in the city for a holiday.
Absolutely. So for those of you guys that have just tuned in, what we're talking about tonight is pop-up tourism. Your property is a short-term holiday rental gold mine. You know,
Big time.
Absolutely it is. I mean, everyone's property is a holiday hotspot gold mine. But again, just be careful, guys. If you do own an apartment and you're looking at Airbnb it out or doing the short-term holiday rental, be careful with your strata bylaws because a lot of stratas do not approve of the short-term holiday rental. If you're a house, no problems at all. You are sitting on a little gold mine. There's no doubt about it. And it doesn't really, I don't think it actually matters where you are, because you've got people that are from the country that are wanting to come into the city, and you've got people from the city that are wanting to go out to the country, and they're wanting to just, you know, hop over a few suburbs and call that a holiday, which is what we've seen quite a lot of lately over the last couple of weeks.
And it's not that crazy either, because you can get your buddies to come as well. So you may find if you're from Blacktown and you're holiday letting in Belrose, Brookfar, because we'll be. You may find you can have another family or two or three come and visit you for a day, come to the beach and share that experience. When you are overseas, for instance, if you're in New Zealand, you couldn't have any buddies come, but here now you can. If you're doing these Airbnbs over the next 12 weeks, 14 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever that period is, it's going to be great because your family and your friends can come and visit you because you're in New South Wales.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so it is something that we are going to be doing more and more of. Obviously, we do a lot of the long-term rentals. Short-term holiday rentals, we sort of started to see disappear as Airbnb came into the picture over the last few years, but we're certainly seeing more and more of a comeback now. Now that, you know, these local people that are in our own neighbourhood are looking at doing their short-term holiday rentals. They feel comfortable staying with an agent that they've already got that long-standing relationship with as well.
And a road trip.
What about that?
Good old road trip.
Oh, good old road trip.
A lot of the classics have coming back. A lot of the old-fashioned holiday stuff that we used to do.
Yes.
We went to visit the Big Banana, but a lot of the old-fashioned stuff I've found from COVID's come back into fashion. And when you look at what we're talking about, these are old-fashioned holidays where families, 2, 3, 4 families joined and got a house, and it's a really old-fashioned concept.
Well, this is what I was just saying earlier, Mark, is that Byron Bay has almost become like the Aspen, because anyone that you know that's taken their kids to Byron Bay for the school holidays, you're like, wow, that's crazy. That's, it's amazing, because it is so expensive and it's so hard to get into these places now.
It's nuts.
But not only that, they don't have, so places like Byron Bay and Noosa,
Port
they
Macquarie.
have the infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
But places,
Heaps of
areas,
restaurants.
they do, and areas like Coffs Harbour, Port Macquarie, they don't seem to have the infrastructure as much in place for this huge amount of tourism
Yeah.
that it's seeing at the moment, and that's kind of off-putting.
Yeah.
Like we're looking at somewhere to go for Christmas. Usually we would go overseas, and obviously that's just not on the table at the moment, and we've left it a bit late, but we're looking for somewhere that we can go over that Christmas New Year period.
Everyone's left it late as well.
Well, no one knew what was going on, right? Like the whole world was on hold. But I tell you what, it's so expensive. Like you may as well be traveling overseas for what you're paying for a lot of these properties. It's quite incredible. I was actually blown away. I'm talking thousands of dollars a night some of these properties are charging.
It's big money, but some of that, again, if you do your place, and you may think it is absolutely crazy Airbnb in your place, but have a look on Airbnb. It's not.
Yeah.
And I think you'd be surprised that there are people out there for renting your property, and it's going to take off the edge of that expensive holiday if you did go to Byron, for instance.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, here's some tips. If you are thinking of doing it yourself, which obviously we don't encourage, because, you know, again, you don't want to go letting someone into your property that you don't know, you don't trust, and you haven't done the proper ID checks on them and taken bonds and all that kind of stuff. So please do consider that. But photography is a huge part of it. So I was, again, just going through Airbnb today, just having a look at some properties. And the photos that were on there were actually horrendous.
Yeah.
So just, you know, invest, spend some money and get some decent photography.
And don't, if you're looking for a good photographer, call your local real estate agent.
Yeah.
They will tell you who they use often.
Absolutely.
Because you can pay, you may Google someone who you think is a professional photographer and they just do a crap job.
Yeah.
So fortunately, we as agents, we have culled the good photographers, the good plumbers, the good electricians, the good everyone.
Yeah.
And we're happy to share those contacts more often than not, particularly if you've got a relationship with a real estate agent. You can ring your agent and go, hey, I'm going to Airbnb my place. Can you do it? Or can you help us with a photographer? They will do that.
Absolutely.
Floor plan?
100%. You
should have a floor plan for your house.
Well, you do. You need a floor plan because obviously, you know, people want to know how many beds are in each room, and you know if there's a good outdoor space that flows off a living area. These are all things that we're looking for when we're on a holiday. But you know, just be mindful, guys. If you are thinking of doing it yourself, be super, super cautious because it's not like a long-term holiday rental where people move in and they call it home. People are on a holiday and it's a very different mindset when people are on holiday because usually there's alcohol involved. Usually it's not your stock standard mum, dad, 2 children. There's a couple of families coming in together and there's a significant amount of wear and tear on a property as well. So, but just on that, Mark, with tradies and things like that, you know, as luck would have it, generally things do go wrong over the Christmas, New Year period. And, you know, you want to make sure that you have access to good tradies as well. You know, and again, your real estate agent will be able to take care of all of that for you.
But even if your house isn't like, you wouldn't think your house is a typical holiday leasing.
Yeah.
You've got to consider that people also want to be close to family and friends.
Yes.
So that you may be in Blacktown thinking, who the hell's going to come here for a holiday? And you know, there are people in Blacktown that have family and friends down the road. So they'll say, okay, I'll rent that property. And then I can hang out with Uncle Mikey and Uncle Mary for a week. Not have to encroach on them, live with them, have our own place 2 weeks and be together. So there's lots of, did I just hassle Blacktown?
No, I don't think so.
I just didn't think of it as a beach suburb, like a resort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I think practically, in all parts of Sydney, all parts of New
I think
South
it's horses
Wales,
for courses.
there's attraction points to it.
100%, and also, Mark, it's budget driven as well. Like not everyone. I mean, you would assume that the coastal suburbs are going to be attracting a much higher per night rate. For obvious reasons. So not everyone has that budget. Some people are happy to get in the car and go to Blacktown and call that a holiday and pay $100 a night, you know. So again, not everyone has the budget. Some people are looking, you know, for what they can afford to spend per night, and other people are saying, I don't care, I just want to be near a beach.
And again, the main function is that everyone's together.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what a holiday is about, that, you know, you're all together. So at the end of the day, wherever you're going to put where everyone's going to have a snooze and hang out and stuff, as long as the family's together, cooking,
Yeah, that's
all
right.
that sort of stuff.
I
It's the main
agree.
thing, guys.
But it is a really, really interesting transition that we're seeing at the moment, this pop-up tourism where people are turning their properties into gold mines, literally into gold mines.
Yep.
You don't need to be going onto that Airbnb portal. You can do it yourself. Be really careful, guys. Be really careful.
Call
We've
us.
heard horror stories. And more importantly, you can call us. We'll do it for you. It's not something that we've usually specialised in. We talked about it, Mark, a couple of years ago about doing that short-term holiday rental.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, there wasn't a huge market for it on the northern beaches.
But now, look, I think that's, people just want to stay close. They don't want to go in a plane to Queensland. You know, they just don't want to go in a plane. They want to sit in the car. They want everyone to be together. They want the experience. And it's the big question on everyone's mind is what are we going to do over the Christmas break?
That's right.
And people are struggling for hotels. So they're turning to Airbnbs.
Well, guess what? People don't want to be in hotels. I don't know that. Because guess what you ask yourself?
Yeah.
Was that a COVID hotel? Is that where they're locking? I mean,
yeah, that's right. In the city, you're thinking, I wonder if this is associated as a COVID hotel.
Yeah. So I don't know that people are loving the old hotel room at the moment. I don't know if that's so attractive anymore.
And I think a lot of I get worried about is, are the hotels on part? Are they full freight running, or are they on?
Oh yeah,
on rations?
That's a huge
one.
Like,
if I'm staying at a hotel, I want to make sure it's I can use every facility.
That's a huge one.
I think at the moment with hotels, you will be struggling with, are they going to, because we went through, I think, past the Hilton, we walked past a couple of weeks ago, and you looked in and didn't even look like the lights were on.
No,
like it was like, hang on a sec, are they open? Are they closed? I don't know if it was Hilton or somewhere else, but
and not only that, but look at a friend of ours over the weekend went into the city to get a meal and ended up with food poisoning all weekend. So, that's not something, we don't hear much about food poisoning anymore. But again, you've just, you want to be wary. When was the last time, the property was that hotel rather was running at full capacity and it's food fresh?
Well, that's
all
what
that
he
sort
said.
of stuff.
That's what he had a schnitty, and we were like, I wonder how long the schnitties have been sitting around, because everyone was on such, when everything was full freight normal.
Yeah.
Everyone was on high rotation with food and stuff like that. They weren't freezing or whatever. But now potentially, you don't know your stock levels and stuff like that.
No, well, that's right. Maybe they're pulling stuff out of the freezer from like a months back. Yeah, you just don't know. So, but again, I don't know that that's overly appealing to people anymore, because they're saying, well, we can get in the car, we can drive 40 minutes, we can be in a beachside suburb, and we'll just call that a holiday. Dad can work, mum can hang out with the kids, she can take the kids down to the beach. We've driven 30 minutes, 40 minutes over the bridge, and there we are, we're on a holiday. And it's all acceptable. Everyone's happy, So just want to say hi to a few people. Leccio, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, hope you're well, all the way from the UK. And Mol, always supporting us. And Rosie, hope you're well. So, yeah, it is a great idea, Rosie. We can rent out your beautiful property.
Yeah, Rosie's in a $22 million apartment in Manly. We can rent that out for her.
Interesting, really interesting, guys. So hopefully that has helped you all a little bit. Again, just the recaps, I think, from tonight, Mark, is your property is literally a holiday gold mine. We're seeing it happening.
Yep.
Where we're seeing people from the west coming over to the northern beaches, calling it a holiday, paying a small fortune for these properties.
People are racking their brains. What they're going to do at the end of the year. They've been locked up all year.
I was just going to say that.
They got school holidays coming if they've got kids. They are racking their brain. They want to get out. They've been caged animals.
That's right.
So Airbnb may be the solution, and it doesn't have to be one way. As in, I'm going to rent something. You can actually rent your place out.
Yeah, that's
while you're renting into somewhere else. So that's pretty cool. So let us know. We do that. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. We've done it. We haven't always done it, actually, the Airbnbs. We've always had a couple, but
Yeah, but we're seeing
couple-
more and more and more of it. Guys,
and
please
new
be
ones
careful if
fine.
you're looking at doing your own property. Be super careful with who you're letting into your home. Make sure that you're doing all those ID checks and, just be careful with it. That's all. I would always suggest that you go out and get an expert to look after it for you.
Pay that little bit more, and
Yep.
you know what? You want to enjoy your holiday as well. So if you're going to rent your place out for 4 weeks and you want to go on holiday for 4 weeks, you want to be on holiday in 4 weeks. So
Yes.
get a pro to do it who's on the ground local.
Absolutely, 100%. Guys, hopefully that's been helpful. Have an awesome week. Enjoy daylight saving, the lighter evenings, and we look forward to seeing you guys next Monday.
Giddy up. See everyone.
See you
Love ya.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.